Welcome to my channel, Crochet for Baby. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you step by step how to crochet this little dress with puff sleeves. It's for baby girls between 6 and 9 months old. Now, I made this little dress to match the little cardigan sweater and baby blanket that I showed you last week. Down here in the information box, I'm going to leave the link to these tutorials. Also in the information box, you will find some information on how you can make it smaller from 0 to 3 months and up to 24 months. So be sure to check that out. Now, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box as well. Okay, let's get started, but don't forget, all of my tutorials are always in English and in Spanish. Don't forget to subscribe, share my tutorials, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Okay, to make this little dress, this is the yarn that I'm going to be using. It's super soft baby double knit James C. Brett. I'm going to use acrylic yarn, but you can use cotton yarn. You can also use any number 3 yarn or 8 ply. And the hook that I'm going to be using is this one here. It's 3.5 millimeter, which is an E hook. Now, the yoke for the little dress, the main color is going to be pink and white. For the tutorial for the yoke, you're going to see this here. It's done exactly in the same way, so I didn't want to record it and then do the same thing. It's exactly in the same way. The only difference is the color. So I just thought I'd let you know before you get started that the little dress, it's all going to be pink and white as the secondary color. Okay, let's get started. So here, to begin, I have 62 chains. This chain here is also measuring about 32 centimeters, which is about 12.5 inches. So here, to begin, on the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, so into the second chain here, make a single crochet. Single crochet into the next chain, single crochet into the next, and so on. This is all I'm going to do for this first row. At the end of this first row, I'm going to have 61 single crochets. Continue like this, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 61 single crochets. Now for the second row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now from here on, these 2 chains never count as a stitch. They're just here so that here along the edge, once we finish the yoke, it's nice and straight. So here, to begin, on top of the first single crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 single crochet and into the next, make a double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 single crochet and into the next, double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 single crochet and into the next, double crochet, chain 1. This is how we're going to continue for the second row. Continue and I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this second row. I have my last double crochet, chain 1. Here at the end, I have these last 2 single crochets. Into the last single crochet, I'm going to make a double crochet. And this is how I finish the second row. I have a total of 31 double crochets in this second row. Now for the third row, chain 2 and turn. Now, beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. Inside this chain 1 space, make 2 double crochets. On top of the next double crochet, make a double crochet, and again inside the chain 1 space, 2 double crochets. This is how we're going to continue for this third row. Make a double crochet on top of the double crochet, and into the chain 1 space, make 2 double crochets. Continue like this to the end of this third row. I will meet you there to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this third row. I have a total of 91 double crochets. Here at the end to finish, I just made my last double crochet on top of the last double crochet. Make sure you have 91 double crochets. Now for the fourth row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 double crochet and into the next, double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 double crochet and into the next, double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 double crochet and into the next, double crochet, chain 1. This is how we're going to continue for this fourth row. So continue and I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this fourth row. Here at the end, I finished by making my last double crochet. I have a total of 46 double crochets separated by 1 chain. Now for the fifth row, chain 2 and turn. Now, beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. Inside the chain 1 space, make 2 double crochets. In this row, we're going to repeat the same thing we did for the third row. So again, on top of the next double crochet, make a double crochet, and into the chain 1 space, make 2 double crochets. This is how you're going to continue making 1 double crochet, then 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way to the end of this 5th row. So continue like this. I will meet you there to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this 5th row. Now I have my last chain 1 space here, and I have my last double crochet. Into this last chain 1 space here, I'm only going to make 1 double crochet. And now on top of the last double crochet, make your last double crochet. Now at the end of this 5th row, I have a total of 135 double crochets. Here into this last chain 1 space, we have to do this adjustment so that I finish with an odd number of double crochets so that the next row works out correctly when we do the double crochet chain 1 row. So now for the 6th row, chain 2 and turn. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1. Now this is how you're going to continue for the 6th row. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this 6th row. I have a total of 68 double crochets separated by 1 chain. Now for the 7th row, chain 2 and turn. Now beginning on top of this first double crochet, make a double crochet. Now in this 7th row, we're going to work this row a little bit differently. We're going to start by making 2 double crochets into this space, then 1 double crochet on top of this double crochet, and then 1 double crochet into the next space. So we're going to do double crochet, then 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1. So 1, 2, 1, 2 into the chain 1 spaces, and then the double crochets here, we're going to work the same thing, a double crochet. So let me show you. So here into the first chain 1 space, make 2 double crochets. On top of the double crochet, make 1. Into this next space, make 1 double crochet. On top of the double crochet, make 1. Into this next space, make 2 double crochets. On top of the double crochet, make 1, and then 1 double crochet. Again, 1 double crochet on top of the double crochet, 2 double crochets into this chain 1 space, 1 double crochet on top of the double crochet, and then 1 double crochet into the next space. We're not going to make too many increases in this row because the yoke is going to start to get wavy, and we don't want that. So continue like this. Into 1 chain 1 space, make 2, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then so on. Continue. I'll meet you at the end of this 7th row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this 7th row. I have a total of 169 double crochets. Now for the 8th row, chain 2 and turn. Now beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1. Continue like this to the end of this 8th row. I will meet you there to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making the 8th row. At the end of this 8th row, I have a total of 85 double crochets separated by 1 chain. Now, as you can see, I've changed color here. I've decided to make the yoke here for the little dress in pink, and then we're going to make the little ruffles that we did here along in these rows here in the center in white. I know the little sweater is the opposite. For the little sweater, we did white with pink, so I'm going to change the color up a bit here for the little dress. Now before we continue, put a stitch marker here to hold this stitch here, or you can tie a little knot here at the end. We're going to come back to the 8th row once we finish the little ruffles that we're going to do here all around the yoke. So here what we're going to do into, let's see, row 1, 3, 5, and 7 is the following. Here is the right side. Make sure that you're on the right side. The 8th row was worked from the wrong side out, so this here is going to be the right side. I have placed a stitch marker here to mark the right side of the yoke here, so we're going to go right here to this opposite side. So this is where I have this end, so we're going to go right here into the row of single crochets right in the middle of these 2 double crochets. Insert your hook like this from the bottom up, so like this. Now I'm going to use white here to do this part, so I'm going to grab a loop here, bring it through the front, chain 1. Now into this same stitch here, the first single crochet here, make a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. Now chain 1, skip to the next single crochet between the next 2 double crochets, so right here, and make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, chain 1, skip to the next single crochet between the next 2 double crochets, so right here, and make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet. Now this is all we're going to do all the way to this other end. This is what it looks like. So continue. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to finish this row, and then we're going to come back to this other end and work the second row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this first row here. Now to finish, I did my last single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into this last chain 1 space. So here to finish, I'm just going to go to the side here of the chain here at the end. I'm just going to grab a loop and make a slip stitch. Now cut your yarn, pass your yarn through this last loop, and this row here is done, and that's what it looks like. Now you're going to do exactly the same thing for each one of the next 3 rows. Here at the end, unfortunately, you're going to have to cut your yarn at the end of every row and then start back again here on this other side. So to start you off here for the second row, we're going to go right here into the 3rd row, which is a row of double crochets. So make a loop here. Insert your hook from the bottom up into this first double crochet right here. Now grab a loop, chain 1, and into this same stitch here, make a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 1. Now into the next double crochet between the next 2 double crochets here, insert your hook and make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, chain 1, into the next double crochet, same thing, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 1, and then same thing into the next double crochet between the next 2. Now continue like this, finish this second row, and then cut your yarn and come back here to this end and then do the next 2 rows. I will come back and show you once this part here is done. Okay, I finished making the last row here of the yoke. This is what it looks like. This is going to be the front now because we're making a little dress. So this here is going to be the front. Now we did a total of 4 rows here of these ruffles, and at the end of every row we were cutting the yarn and then starting back again on the opposite side. So we have 4 rows. Don't worry about these ends here. Once we do here along the front panels, we're going to hide these ends. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to divide the sleeves. We're going to start counting rows. This is going to be the first row. So here, this is where we left off. This is the 8th row here. So at the end of the 8th row, I had a total of 85 double crochets separated by 1 chain. Now to divide the sleeves, this is how we're going to do it. Each one of the front panels is going to have 11 double crochets. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Put a stitch marker into this next chain 1 space. Now for the sleeves, we're going to have 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 double crochets, and into this next chain one space put a stitch marker. Now for the back side, or actually this is going to be the front of the little dress, we're going to have 23 double crochets. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23, put a stitch marker into the next chain one space. And then again for the second sleeve, you should have 20, and then for the front panel here, you should have 11. So we have 11, 20 for the sleeves, 23 for the back side, 20 for the sleeve, and then 11 for the front panel. That's how we're going to divide the sleeve. So here, we're going to start the first row, so chain 2 and turn. Now beginning on top of this first double crochet here, make a double crochet. Now to continue, I'm going to count for you how many chain one spaces I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 chain one spaces, including this one where I have the stitch marker. So into each one of these chain one spaces, we're going to make 2 double crochets. On top of the double crochet, we're not going to do anything, so skip the double crochet, and into the next chain one space make 2 double crochets. That's how you're going to continue for the front panel. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to divide the first sleeve. I finished making these double crochets for this front panel up to here. This is the last chain one space. I have 23 double crochets. Now into this same space here, we're going to add 1 extra double crochet. So now I have 24 double crochets for this front panel. Now to divide the sleeve, chain 1. Skip 20 double crochets, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and into the first double crochet of the front panel here, this is going to be the front, make a double crochet. And this is how I divide the first sleeve. Now if you want to add more chains here under the sleeve to add to the waist, then you can do that. I'm only going to add 1 chain. Now here we have a total of 22 chain one spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 chain one spaces. Into each one of these 22 chain one spaces, you're going to make 2 double crochets. Skip the double crochet and into the next 2 double crochets. Continue. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to divide the second sleeve. Now before we continue, I forgot to mention I had put a stitch marker here, and I forgot to mention the reason why I had a stitch marker. This stitch marker here is marking the center here of the back side or the front side. Remember, we have a total of 23 double crochets, so I put a stitch marker on this double crochet, which is double crochet number 13. See, if we count the double crochets, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So into this 13th double crochet, I put a stitch marker. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make 1 double crochet on top of this 13th double crochet. And this is because I want to finish this first row with an odd number of stitches. If I continue in the same sequence, I'm going to finish with an even number of stitches, and I don't want that because in the next row I want to work the row of double crochet chain 1. So make sure that you add an extra double crochet here in the center, and that's why I went ahead and marked the 13th double crochet. So now you're just going to continue and work 2 double crochets into each one of the chain 1 spaces. So make sure that you add that extra stitch here on the back side or the front side. I keep saying the back side, it's the front. This is going to be a dress, so it's the front. So continue, finish here. I will meet you here to show you how we're going to divide the second sleeve. I finished making these double crochets for the front side. Remember, here in the center we did 1 double crochet on top of this double crochet, so you should have a total of 47 double crochets for the front side. My last double crochet, I did it here on top of this last double crochet of the front side, so you should have 47 double crochets. Now to divide the second sleeve, chain 1, skip these 20 double crochets, and into the space here where I have the stitch marker, so right here before the first double crochet of the front panel, make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now into each one of these chain 1 spaces, you're going to make 2 double crochets. Here at the end, once we finish this front panel, you should have 24 double crochets. Continue. Let's finish this first row, and I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this first row. This is where we have divided the sleeve. I finished this second front panel, and I have 24 double crochets here for this front panel. Now at the end of this first row, you should have a total of 95 double crochets plus the chains that we did here under the sleeve. So each front panel has 24 and 24, and here for the front panel you should have 47 double crochets. Now to finish this row, we're going to go on top of the first double crochet right here, and we're going to join with a slip stitch. From here on, we're going to work the little dress in the round. So now for the second row, we're going to chain 2, and beginning on top of this first double crochet, which is the same where we join with a slip stitch, make a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, and into the next double crochet, chain 1. This is how we're going to continue all around for this second row. Here I'm going to show you how you're going to work the chain that we added under the sleeve. You're just going to treat it like a normal stitch. I'm not sure if we're going to finish with a double crochet there or a chain, so let's see. Skip 1 and into the next double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and into the next double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and into the next double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and into the next double crochet, chain 1, and then skip the last double crochet for this front panel. So here where I have the chain, I have to do a double crochet, chain 1, skip the first double crochet and into the second double crochet, chain 1, and so on. This is all we're going to do for the second row. So continue. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this second row. This is where we did double crochets, chain 1. Into this last double crochet of this front panel, I have my last double crochet, chain 1. To finish this row, we're going to go on top of the first double crochet right here, and we're going to join with a slip stitch. And here is the second row. You should have a total of 49 double crochets separated by 1 chain. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to start our pattern stitch. The pattern that I'm going to use here for the skirt of the little dress is the same one here that I did for this baby coat or little sweater. Now there is going to be a difference between the stitches here. For the little coat, I did 4 double crochets when I did the row of shells, but in the little dress I'm going to make it with 6 double crochets. You can do it like this, that would be up to you. The only thing I recommend is maybe use a slightly bigger hook, maybe a 4mm hook, so that the skirt here has a bit more volume. I'm going to continue with the same crochet hook because I'm going to make my shells here a little bit bigger. So to start here, this is the third row. Into the first chain 1 space here, I'm going to make a slip stitch. Now chain 1, and into this same stitch here, the chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 1. Now into the next chain 1 space here, I'm going to make the first shell. Each one of these shells is going to consist of 6 double crochets. Let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, make a shell. So 6 double crochets. That's 5, 6. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, make a shell. This is how we're going to continue, just alternating between a shell, single crochet between a shell, chain, single crochet, chain, shell, and so on. Continue like this for this third row. I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this third row. I have the last shell here. I have not chained one here at the end. And I have this last chain one space. I'm going to skip this last chain one space and I'm going to go on top of the first single crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished this third row with a total of 24 shells. Now for the fourth row, we're going to turn. Don't chain or anything, just turn. Here we have the first shell, we have 6 double crochets. Into the first double crochet, insert your hook like this and make a front post, slip stitch, chain 3, and then 2 front post double crochets. Chain 1, 3 front post double crochets. Again, we have the next shell, make 3 front post double crochets. Chain 1, 3 front post double crochets. And this is all we're going to do for each shell. So you're going to make 3 front post double crochets, chain 1, 3 front post double crochets on each one of the shells. Continue like this to the end of this fourth row. I will meet you here to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this fourth row. In this fourth row, we did the row of front post double crochets. Now, if we count each one of the front post double crochets, you should have a total of 144 front post double crochets, including the 3 chains here at the beginning. Remember that we have a total of 24 shells, and each shell has 6 front post double crochets. So that's a total of 144 front post double crochets. Now to finish this row, we're always going to go here into the third chain and we're going to join with a slip stitch. And here's the fourth row. Now for the fifth row, we're going to turn. Don't chain or anything, just turn. And beginning into this space between the last shell and the first shell, so right here, make a single crochet. Now chain 1, and into each one of the chain 1 spaces of each one of these shells, make a shell. So 6 double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1 in the middle of these 2 shells right here, make a single crochet, chain 1, and again into the chain 1 space of the next shell, make 6 double crochets. Here's our second shell. Chain 1 in the middle of the shells, make a single crochet, chain 1, and into the next chain 1 space, make your third shell, and so on. This is all we're going to do for this fifth row. At the end of this fifth row, we're going to have 24 shells, and these are the 2 rows that we're going to repeat from here on, the row of front post double crochets and then this row of shells. Now continue, finish this fifth row. I will meet you here at the end to show you once again how to begin the row of front post double crochets, since from here on you're just going to continue on your own and just repeat these 2 rows. So I'll meet you at the end of this fifth row. I'm here at the end of this fifth row. In this row, I did the row of shells. I have a total of 24 shells. Now here at the end, I have my last shell. I'm not going to chain here at the end. Whenever we make the last shell, don't chain here at the end. If you chain, it's okay. Just make sure that you're consistent. I'm not going to chain because when I did this first row here of shell, I didn't chain here. So I'm just going to continue in the same way. I'm not going to chain here at the end. I'm just going to go here on top of the first single crochet that we did at the beginning of the row and join with a slip stitch. Now from here on, like I said, we're going to repeat these 2 rows, the row of front post double crochets and the row of shells. So to start you off, we're going to turn. Don't chain or anything, just turn. Here we have the first shell. We have 6 double crochets. Into the first double crochet, make a front post slip stitch. Now chain 3, and then 2 front post double crochets, chain 1, 3 front post double crochets. Now we have the second shell, make 3 front post double crochets, chain 1, 3 front post double crochets. Now this is all we're going to do for this row. When you finish here, you're going to make a slip stitch into the 3rd chain, then turn and repeat this row shells. These are the 2 rows that we're going to continue with for the skirt here of the dress. Now, I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. So I will meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I finished making the skirt of the dress. I did a total of 18 rows. Now this part here is measuring from the middle here of the neckline to the end of the last row. It's measuring about 26.5 centimeters, which is about 10.5 inches. Now if you want to make your little dress longer, you can. Just make sure that the last row that you do is the row front post double crochets. So now to continue, we're going to make 2 more rows here just to finish the bottom of the dress. So to do this, here at the end I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch. Now I'm going to turn, and here I'm going to make 4 slip stitches. I'm going to make 1 slip stitch on each one of these 3 double crochets, and then 1 inside the chain 1 space. So make a slip stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, inside the chain 1 space, make your 4th slip stitch. Now chain 1, and into this same space here, make a single crochet. Now in the middle of these 2 shells, so right here, we're going to make a fan. So make a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So each one of our fans is going to consist of 5 double crochets separated by a chain. Now into the chain 1 space of this shell, make a single crochet, and then again in the middle of these 2 shells, make your 2nd fan. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Here's the 2nd fan. I have 5 double crochets separated by 1 chain. Now on top of the next shell, make a single crochet, and then repeat the same thing in between the next 2 shells. Make another fan. And this is all we're going to do. And that's what it looks like. Continue like this to the end of this row. I will meet you here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making this row of fans, row 19. Now here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch right here where I had the single crochet, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop. So this part here is done. Now we're going to make 1 more row. We're going to turn this like this. So this row we're going to work from the inside out. So this is the wrong side. So here to begin, I'm going to use this white yarn to make this last row. So here's where we finished. Here's the slip stitch. Now right next to the single crochet here into this space, here's the last double crochet of the last fan. So right here, insert your hook there, grab a loop, chain 1, and into this same space here, make a single crochet. Now chain 3 in the middle of the next 2 double crochets, so into the chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 3. Into the next chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 3. Into the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 3. And then again into the last chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 3. And then we're going to make one last single crochet, and the last single crochet is going to go after the last double crochet. So right here between the single crochet and the double crochet into this space here, make a single crochet. Now skip the single crochet, and then this space between the first double crochet of this fan and the single crochet, so right here, make a single crochet, chain 3 into the first chain 1 space of this next fan, make a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into the last chain 1 space, and then again chain 3, and after the double crochet here, make a single crochet, skip the single crochet, and into the space between the last double crochet and the single crochet, make a single crochet, chain 3, and then into the chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 3, and so on. This is all we're going to do, and that's what it looks like. Look how beautiful that looks. So on the right side, this is what it looks like. Now continue like this all around. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making this last row here where we did the chains. Here what I did was I did my last single crochet, then I joined to the first single crochet that we did at the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and passed my yarn through that last loop, and this part here is done. Look how beautiful this looks. I absolutely love this little border here. Now what we're going to do next, before I show you the sleeves, I've decided to add these little puff sleeves to the little dress. We're going to do the back side. These strings here are driving me nuts, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of these before I showed you the sleeve. So let's do this. So here, this is the back side, so we're going to go right here on the left side. This is where I have this end of yarn when I did the chain, so right in the middle, so right here, insert your hook, grab a loop. I'm going to use the pink yarn here, and I'm using the same hook size. Now chain 1, and into the same stitch here, make a single crochet. Now I'm going to make a single crochet between the next 2 stitches, and then another one. So far I have 3 single crochets. Now into the next 2 I'm going to work a single crochet decrease. So insert your hook, grab a loop, insert your hook into the next, grab a loop, close. Here's my single crochet decrease. Now I'm going to work, let's see, 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and these single crochets I'm making them in between the single crochets of the first row, not on top but just in between. Now here I'm going to make 1 more single crochet decrease. So insert your hook into the next space, grab a loop, insert your hook into the next space, grab a loop, 3 loops, close. Now here I'm going to work this decrease here in the back side, so when I get here I'm going to do the same thing. So from here on I'm just going to work 1 single crochet in between the single crochets all around until I come to the last, I don't know how many stitches I have here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, last 9 stitches, so right about here. So continue, I'll meet you right here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm almost done with the neckline. I have up to here 50 single crochets. I still have 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to work a single crochet decrease here into the next 2. So insert your hook, grab a loop, insert your hook into the next, grab a loop, 3 loops, close. Now make 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and into the next 2 a single crochet decrease. So grab a loop, into the next stitch, grab a loop, 3 loops, close, and now finish with these last 2 single crochets. And here is the neckline. Now for the neckline you should have 57 single crochets. It's okay if you have 1, 2, or 3 stitches less or more. It's okay. The important thing is that this part here looks nice. I think that looks pretty good. So now we're going to continue along the sides here and fix here so that we can hide our ends. Here, to work our way down, we're going to chain 1, and into the last single crochet, insert your hook there and make a single crochet. Now into the next row, make a single crochet. I have 2. Into the next row here, make 2. That's 3 and 4. Into the next row, make 1. That's 5. Into the next row, make 2. So that's 5. Let's see, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Into the next row, make 1. That's 8. Into the next row, make 2. 9, 10. Into the next row, make 1. That's 11. And into the next row, make 2. So that's 12, 13. Let me count them again. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now here into this last row, make 1. So that's 14 single crochets. Now in the middle here, make 1. And now we're going to work our way up and work 14 single crochets. So here I'm going to start with 2, then 1, 2, 1, and so on until I have 14. You may need to adjust so that you can end with 14, but that's how we're going to continue. I'll meet you here at the end, here at the top, to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these single crochets. For the back side, I have 14 single crochets along this side and then 14 single crochets along this side. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to add a little collar here for the little dress. If you don't want to do this, then just go ahead and cut your yarn, pass your yarn through this last loop, or maybe just go back down and make a row of buttonholes here on this side. That would be up to you, and then continue with the sleeves. I'm going to continue here along the neckline and make this row here so that we can make our little collar here for the little dress. So here to begin, into the same stitch where I did my last stitch, insert your hook there and make a slip stitch. A slip stitch on top of the next single crochet. Let's see, that's 2, 3, 4. I have 4 slip stitches. Now into the next single crochet through the front loop, only make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now into the next 2 single crochets, make a single crochet, and always through the front loop of the single crochet. Now into this next, make an increase, so 2 single crochets. This is how we're going to continue. We're going to do 2, then an increase, 2, then an increase. Let me show you again. That's 1 and 2, and into the next a single crochet increase, always through the front loop. Again, 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and into the next a single crochet increase. Now continue like this all around. I will meet you here at this end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at this other end of the collar. Up to here I have 68 single crochets, and I still have these last 4 stitches here. So into the next, make a slip stitch, that's 1, into the next, that's 2, into the next, 3, and here at the end, make your last one. So here's 4 slip stitches. And here's the neckline with a total of 68 single crochets, and I have 4 slip stitches on both sides. Now we're going to continue along this side. Here, make single crochets. Here I have 14, so I'm going to make 14 single crochets. In the middle, I'm going to make 1, and then I'm going to go on this side and show you how to make your buttonholes. So here, chain 1, and into this last stitch here, make your first single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Here's 14 single crochets. Now in the middle we did 1, so make 1 single crochet there. And now we're going to work our way up and make, let's see, I put a stitch marker into the 7th single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets, chain 1, skip this 7th single crochet, and into the next make a single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets, chain 1, and here at the end, right here, make a single crochet. So here are my 2 buttonholes. There's one right here and one here at the top. Now these spaces here that we left right here for our buttonhole is big enough for a 10, 11, or 12 millimeter. I'll let you know what size I use when this part here is done. I'll go ahead and show you. So now here all we have to do is just cut our yarn and pass our yarn through this last loop, and this part here is done. Now what I'm going to show you next is how to hide your ends here, because I'm going to go ahead and do that next so that I can show you the finished here, this part here finished. Now here's my end, so just insert your needle right there, and now we're going to go here on the back side, and here in the back side we did that first row of single crochets, so right along that very edge, insert your needle there, come up, pull a needle, and then work your way down and do the same thing. Skip this one and into the next here, insert your needle and just come out here, and now pull a little bit, cut your yarn, and that's how you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you this here all done. Okay, I finished hiding all my ends. Here are my 2 buttonholes that we did here on the back side. Now these buttons that I used, these are 10 millimeter buttons, so you can use the same size. Now what we're going to do here along the neckline is we're going to make a little collar here, just like I did with this little dress. Down here in the information box, or if you press the little lamp next to my channel name, you can find the tutorial for this little dress there. So I'm going to do exactly how I did it here. Now all around the neckline, if you remember, we did a total of 68 single crochets with 4 slip stitches here on both sides. So to begin, we're going to mark the center here of the neckline. So I have 34 single crochets from this stitch marker up to here. This is the first one, so from here all around up to here there's 34, and then the same thing for this side, 34, because 68 divided by 2 is 34. So here to begin, we're going to go here on the left side, beginning into the first single crochet. Here, this first one, I'm going to go through both loops. So I'm going to grab a loop. I'm going to use the white yarn here, chain 3. Now into this same stitch here, we're going to make a triple crochet. So yarn over twice, insert your hook back again into the same stitch, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Again, yarn over twice and into the next single crochet through the front loop of the single crochet, insert your hook, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Again, yarn over twice and into the next single crochet through the front loop, insert your hook, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Again, yarn over twice and repeat the same thing. Make a triple crochet. And that's all we're going to do here. We're going to make these triple crochets up to the last 3 or 4 stitches, so about here. So continue, I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to work the center of the neckline. Okay, I'm here in the middle of the neckline. I have 4 stitches here left before the stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last one is here where I have my stitch marker. Up to here, I have a total of 30 triple crochets. So now into the next single crochet here, we're going to make a double crochet and go through the front loop only. Here's double crochet. Into the next, make a half double crochet. Into the next, make a single crochet, and into the last here where I have the stitch marker, make a slip stitch. And here's this side, and that's what it looks like. Now we're going to continue along this side, but I'm going to remove these 2 stitch markers here, but make sure to put them back once we do these 2 slip stitches here. So into the next stitch, which is the first for this side, make a slip stitch. Now into the next single crochet, make a single crochet. And before I continue and forget, I'm going to put a stitch marker into these 2 center stitches here where we did the slip stitches. So right there. These are the 2 slip stitches we did in the center. Now the next stitch, make a half double crochet, and into the next stitch, make a double crochet. Always go through the front loop. Now into the next 30 single crochets, make your triple crochet. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Same thing for the next, and so on. This is how we're going to continue here until we finish here at the end. I will meet you here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at this other end of the collar. I finished making these 30 triple crochets here for this other side. Now here at the end, into the last stitch, in the same one where I did the last triple crochet, into the same stitch here, make a double crochet. Now we're going to make 1 more row, so chain 1 and turn. Now in the middle of these 2 stitches between the triple crochet and the double crochet, make a single crochet, 3 chains. In the middle of the next 2 stitches, make a slip stitch, 3 chains. In the middle of the next 2, a slip stitch, 3 chains. In the middle of the next 2, a slip stitch, 3 chains, and in the middle of the next 2, a slip stitch. We're going to continue like this. Make sure that you make the slip stitches in the middle of the 2 stitches here, so right in between. Continue like this all around. I will meet you right here in the center to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm right here in the center. I'm going to remove these 2 stitch markers here. This is where we did the 2 slip stitches in the 3rd row of the collar. So I have 3 chains, and now into the slip stitch where I had the stitch marker, make a slip stitch into the next stitch. Now chain 3, slip stitch here into this next space, chain 3, slip stitch between the next 2, chain 3, slip stitch between the next 2, and so on. Here you're just going to continue in the same way. I just wanted to show you how you're going to do this part here, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. Yes, I think that'll work. Now continue, finish here on this side, and I'll meet you there to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end. I have my last 3 chains, so in the middle of these last 2 stitches here, I'm going to make, let's see, a single crochet here at the end because I started with a single crochet here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 1 more row here around the neckline, and to do this, I'm not going to cut my yarn. You can easily just cut your yarn and start right here, but I'm just going to work, let's see, 3 single crochets here where we have this double crochet, or actually the 3 chains here at the end. So make 3 single crochets. You can also do slip stitches if you prefer. I'm going to do single crochets. So I have 3 single crochets here where I have the 3 chains, and now I'm going to go all around the neckline. Let me show you where I'm going to insert the hook. Now here's the first row that we did for the neckline, and here's the second row. So right here, that's where I'm going to be inserting the hook right there to make this next row. I'm going to make slip stitches, so I just want to show you here where I'm going to insert my hook. Now this is optional. This is going to reduce a tiny bit the neckline as well. So if you don't want that, then it's okay. You can just leave it like this. So beginning here between these two stitches, let's see, between the first triple crochet and the 3 chains here, insert your hook there and make a slip stitch. Between the next 2 stitches, make a slip stitch. Again, between the next, a slip stitch, between the next, a slip stitch. And that's what it looks like. I'll show you. Let me do a couple more and I'll show you what it looks like. So like this. So slip stitches. This is what it looks like, and here's the top. You can barely see it. This is going to help the collar here stay down. So that's why I'm doing this row of slip stitches all around. So continue. I will meet you here at this end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these slip stitches all around. Now here at the end, I did my last slip stitch between the last 2 spaces, and then I went down here into this last double crochet and did 3 single crochets, just like I did here, so that it looks the same. And then I just did a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and passed my yarn through that last loop, and the collar is all done, and that's what it looks like. Absolutely beautiful. Now if you have not started your little dress, I would not do this row here of ruffles. I would only do these 3 rows here because the collar here covers it up. So the neckline is all done with the little collar. So now what we're going to do is the little puff sleeve. Someone commented in my last video where I showed you the little coat that they wanted me to show them how to do a little puff sleeve, so I've decided to do it here in this little dress. I don't think it looks too bad. I think it looks pretty nice. You can also leave it like this, just like a little pinafore dress without sleeves. So I'm going to do a little sleeve here. So let's start here on this side. You're going to do it exactly in the same way as I showed you here for the other side. So let's get started. So we're going to go here under the sleeve. Right under the sleeve we did that 1 chain, so into this space here insert your hook. I'm going to use the same yarn with the same hook size here, and we're going to chain 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Now into this same space here, make 3 double crochets. This here is going to count as the first shell. There we have 3 double crochets plus the 3 chains. Here's our first shell. Now chain 1, find your first chain 1 space of the sleeve, which is this one here. So into this first chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 1, and into the next chain 1 space, make a shell. Now these shells here are going to consist of 4 double crochets. If you want to make them exactly like this, like the dress where we did 6 double crochets instead, you can. The only thing is that your sleeve is going to be slightly more puffier. It's going to be a little bit bigger because the shells are bigger. I'm going to make them with 4 double crochets. Now chain 1, and into the next chain 1 space make a single crochet, chain 1, into the next make a shell, so 4 double crochets. And this is how we're going to continue all around. Just make a shell, chain 1, and into the next space single crochet, chain 1, and into the next space a shell. Continue. I will meet you here at this other end to show you how we're going to finish this first row. Okay, I'm here at this other side of the sleeve. This is the first row. I have my last shell, chain 1. Now into this chain 1 space where we have these 3 double crochets, so right here into the same space here, make a single crochet. And now to finish, go on top of the 3rd chain right here and join with a slip stitch. And here's the first row. I have a total of 11 shells. Now turn for the 2nd row. Don't chain or anything, just turn. Here we have the first shell. We have 4 double crochets. Into the first double crochet, make a front post slip stitch, then chain 3, make a front post double crochet, chain 1, 2 front post double crochets. Now we have the next shell, make 2 front post double crochets, chain 1, 2 front post double crochets. And that's all we're going to do all around. Each one of the shells you're going to make 2 front post double crochets, 1 chain, 2 front post double crochets. Continue all around. I'll meet you here at the end of this second row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this second row. I did my last 2 front post double crochets, chain 1, 2 front post double crochets here into this last shell. Now to finish, we're going to go into the third chain and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the second row with a total of 11 shells. Now for the third row, turn, don't chain or anything, just turn. Now in the middle here of the first and last shell, right here, make a single crochet, chain 1. Now we have the first shell, so inside the chain 1 space here, make 4 double crochets, which is 1 shell. Chain 1 in the middle of the shells, single crochet, chain 1, inside the chain 1 space, make a shell, so 4 double crochets. Chain 1 in the middle of the shells, single crochet, chain 1, and then inside the next shell, a shell. Continue like this all around for this third row. I will meet you here at this end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this third row. Here's my last shell, chain 1 to finish. Here's the single crochet, just make a slip stitch. And this is how I finished this third row with a total of 11 shells. Now for the fourth row, turn. Don't chain or anything, just turn. We have the first shell, make a front post slip stitch, chain 3. Now make 3 front post double crochets. In this row, we're not going to make the chain 1 space. We're just going to make front post double crochets. Now we have the next shell, make 4 front post double crochets. And that's all we're going to do all around for this fourth row. 4 front post double crochets. Continue, I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this fourth row. This is where I did front post double crochets to finish. We're going to go here to the beginning where we have the 3 chains and join with a slip stitch. Now for the fifth row, chain 2 and turn. Now in this space right here between the first and last shell right here, make a double crochet. Now in this row we're going to make double crochet decreases, so yarn over, insert your hook on top of the first double crochet, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, yarn over on top of the next double crochet, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Again into the next 2, work a double crochet decrease, and into the next 2, again a double crochet decrease. This is all we're going to do all around. Double crochet decrease. Continue like this all around. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this fifth row. I did my last double crochet decrease here at the end. Up to here I have a total of 23 double crochets, not including the 2 chains. Now to finish, we're going to go here on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this row with a total of 23 double crochets. Now for the next 3 rows, we're going to make 3 rows of single crochet, so just like this. Now if you try this on your little girl and you feel like the sleeve here is too tight, then in this row where we did the double crochet decreases, don't do too many. I would do maybe every other stitch, so work a double crochet decrease, and into the next make a normal double crochet, and then into the next do the double crochet decrease. And that way you're going to end with more stitches here around the sleeve. So now to continue, I'm going to use a slightly bigger hook. I'm going to use this 4mm crochet hook. Now if you're making this little dress using any other hook size, just go up half a hook size to make this last part here, to make the last 3 rows. And that way the sleeve here is not too tight around. So here we're going to chain 1, and into the same stitch where we join with a slip stitch, make a single crochet. On top of the next, make a single crochet on top of the next, single crochet on top of the next, and so on. Here you're going to be left with 23 single crochets. Now to finish this row, you're going to go here on top of the first single crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and into that same stitch make your first single crochet for the second row, and then you're going to repeat the same thing for the third row. So in total we're going to make 3 rows. So continue, let's finish these last 3 rows, and then I'll come back and show you the finished sleeve. I finished making these 3 rows for the sleeve. Here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and pass my yarn through this last loop. Now here what we're going to do is one more row. I'm going to do this row here in white. If you want to leave the sleeve like this, it's all done. Now to start here, I'm going to go down half a hook size, so I'll use the original hook, the 3.5, and we're going to start right here. This is where I finished. And we're going to do this row from the inside out, so from the wrong side out. So I'm going to go into the next stitch right here, grab a loop with white, chain 3, skip 1 single crochet, and into the next make a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 single crochet, and into the next make a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 single crochet, and into the next make a slip stitch. And that's all we're going to do all around. When you finish, you're going to join here to the beginning with a slip stitch, then chain 1, cut your yarn, pass your yarn through that last loop, and this part is going to be done. Now continue, let's finish this part, and then I'll come back and show you the finished dress. Okay, I finished making the last row. Here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and pass my yarn through that last loop, and the sleeve is all done. Now you're going to do exactly the same thing that we did here. You're going to do it here on this side. It's done exactly in the same way. So the little dress is all done. This is what it looks like from the bottom. I'll turn it over. This is the back side. These are the sleeves. I absolutely love these puff sleeves. So there it is. And here's the bottom. Now here in the center, all I did was just weave the little ribbon here, and then I just did a little bow here in the center. Now these little flowers are pre-made. I purchased these from Joann's. Now this little dress, I did it using baby DK weight yarn, but you can also use any cotton yarn. I recommend that if you're making this little dress for the summer or springtime, you may want to use cotton yarn, since acrylic tends to be a little bit more hot. Now I have the little matching sweater that I showed you earlier. This one here, down here in the information box, you can find a link to this tutorial. Now comment below and let me know what else you want me to show you with this set. I've gotten some requests to make the matching pants for this little sweater. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do that, but just comment, let me know if you want me to do that. Most of pants and baby booties and hats don't tend to do too well as far as views in my channel, and it's a lot of work. So I'm not sure if I want to do that unless you all really, really, really want me to. So please comment and let me know, and please hit that like button. I'll go ahead and see what I can do. And the same thing for the little dress. If you want me to do the matching diaper cover, baby booties, bonnet or hat, let me know, comment. Let me give you the finished measurements. So here, from the top of the neckline here to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 14 centimeters, which is about 5.5 inches. From under the sleeve to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 6 centimeters, which is about 2.5 inches. Now, from the top of the neckline down to the end here, it's measuring about 33 centimeters, which is about 13 inches. And the waist, just the top, it's measuring about 26 centimeters, which is about 10.25 inches. So based on these measurements, this little dress here, along with the little sweater, is for babies between 6 and 9 months old. Now you can also make it smaller or bigger. Down here in the information box, I'm going to leave some information on how you can make it smaller from 0 to 3 months and up to 12 to 24 months. So be sure to check that out. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.